On action. Okay, we're recording.
Sweet.
Okay, so question number 1 says, has your ability to see truth in both secular and sacred sources improved? How so? Why is this a critical ability to have for you as a parent?
I would say
You would say yes?
yeah. I've been able to find truth in things. I don't know, especially with like the parenting stuff. Like, have you done the final exam yet for this class?
Not yet.
No.
Still
Well,
procrastinating.
gotcha. Yeah, well, there's a video that's part of it, and it was just I could see a lot of the things in it. I was like, oh yes, that's like right on, and other things I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. That's not right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just become easier for me.
Are you talking about the 40-minute video?
No.
I was going to say I read or I watched some of it and then I got cut off in the middle, but I do remember reading how it was talking about how each child, like, well, I don't know. I relate this to everything because it was at the very beginning, but you know how it said like to see your child as, or not to see your child as an object and as more as like connecting to them. And I have 3 kids. So I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 6-month-old. And it's really hard to see the 6-month-old as not an object when they don't really like interact yet. Like, I guess she does interact, but it's like all day long, it's just feeding her, changing her diaper, letting her nap, like all that stuff. And so when it asks like, has your ability to see truth in both secular and sacred sources improved? I would say yes, because I really do like have a meaningful, like I have intention about caring for my child and like making sure that I'm not just doing stuff to help them or care for them, but I'm also like loving them and like enjoying my time that I have with them and like waiting for cuddles during the day. And so when it says like, how is this critical ability to have as a parent? That's how you get to know your child. That's how you get to like gain a relationship with them. That's how they get to gain trust in you. And so I feel like that's a huge thing that throughout this whole semester, at the beginning, I saw my 6-month-old as an object. Now she's not so much.
Yeah. I'm not a parent yet, so I'm a little young for that, but
Yeah.
I have 4 younger siblings, and I have been able to see them more as real people, not just objects, especially my the brother who's closest in age to me. I've always had a hard time getting along with him. And like recently I've been like, okay, he's a person, he's not an object. And it's changed our relationship like completely. It's like, it's kind of awesome, but
That is awesome. Uh-oh, someone threw something. Okay, question number 2. What are some common misconceptions about discipline? What do you think it means to discipline a child? Do you want to go first?
sure. Well, I think that one misconception about discipline that I especially had is that it's supposed to be like punishment and like you make them do stuff. But as I've been studying this, it's my definition of discipline has changed from like punishment to help teaching them to be a disciple of Christ and to be like the best that they possibly can instead of making them be the person that you want them to be.
Yeah, very true. Well, and in the past, I feel like discipline to me was like getting them in trouble, trying to fix a problem. And through this class, I've learned it's not doing anything if you're just forcing them to sit down on timeout and not teaching them why they're sitting there. So
Yeah.
like, even though I thought it was like a given, I'm like, okay, sister hit brother with a toy. You need to say sorry. You didn't say sorry. Okay, you need to go on timeout. But I don't explain that to him. I've never explained it to him. I'm just like, okay, you're on timeout. You have to sit there for 4 minutes, all this stuff. So it finally got to the point where I spend that time for the 4 minutes or 2 minutes of a timeout that I'm giving them. I'm teaching them why they need to do it. So I'm like, okay, that way, like what we've been taught is that if we teach them, they can connect why they did the wrong thing and why they're getting the punishment, and they can learn from it. And that's like something that like you would think is like common sense as a parent, like, oh, you should teach your child to do this. But I didn't ever think of it that way. I just thought of it like, you did something wrong, you need to be punished, but they didn't understand it. So I think that was another thing, especially from this class, that helps. And it says, what do you think it means to discipline a child? I think it means that we're supposed to be helping them grow as a person. I feel like that's what they need for real life, for social cues, like for taking responsibility for their actions. That's something important that they need to realize as they grow. And if we don't do it, then they will just take advantage of everything, bully everyone. I feel like I can just envision my 4-year-old bullying people. I'm like, because I need to teach them or they're going to be weird.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to read number 4?
Sure. Imagine a parent finds out that you took this parenting class and asks, what is the best way to motivate my child? How would you respond?
Parent finds out that you took this parenting class and asks, what is the best way to motivate my child? I feel like in the past I would have said bribery, because that's a thing and I still use it. But how can you tell? Let's see. I'm trying to think. I guess I would say I would be praising them for their actions that are right, and telling them how much I love them and how proud I am of that choice, because that way it makes them have a sense of self-accomplishment. And then it gives them an attitude of, I want to be better, or I want to do better in the future. I think that's how I would respond. What do you think?
I don't know. Like I've learned a lot from this class, but it's still so hard to like the healthy way to motivate your children, because like it talks a lot about you don't want to praise them for every little thing, because then they're not going to do it if you're not there to praise them. But you also have to be like, I'm so proud of you for working hard, but sometimes that's like not the case. You're actually just proud of their accomplishment. I don't know. But I think that I would do my best to encourage them to have a growth mindset by saying, hey, you worked so hard on that. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. And kind of relating it to work too would help, just so that they know that things can be paid off with hard work.
Yeah, I wish that I had learned that as a kid.
Yeah. Okay. What teachings from mindset, unconditional parenting, or anatomy of peace have had the most impact on you, and why? Offer an insight from each book. Okay. Do you want to start, or do you want to
Sure.
go with one?
Let's see.
I can
Well,
give you time to think if you want.
I'll do it with mindset first.
Okay.
So mindset, I really liked learning about like growth mindset, and I actually learned that more in my college success class that I took on campus, about like having a growth mindset and knowing that it's okay to fail as long as you're learning something from it. And it reminded me so much of like Robinson. Yeah, you failed, and just learning from that experience and becoming better because of it. That's something that's impacted me, and I've tried really hard to keep that as I've taken some.
Yeah. Good point. That's awesome. I was going to say too, where is it? The Anatomy of Peace. I'd heard so much about this book before we read it. And I feel like I still want to go back and reread parts, because most of it was just like cramming before we had to quiz, But all of the situations and the circumstances it gave really applied it to real life, and how, like, even though that certain characters were dealing with problems in their life, even though that wasn't my specific circumstance, I could apply it to the same way they were thinking about. And then the parenting book, the unconditional parenting, I think that was right. I feel like that was fun, because it's we kind of learned that it was the child who engages in a behavior, and not just the behavior itself that matters, So that was very interesting to like watch my kids read that and be like, oh, like that makes sense. All of it goes together. Because it's just like, okay, child, like, why do you continue to scratch your brother, even though, like, I don't know, they just do things to torment each other on a daily basis. And so I'm just like, child, do stop. It just grabs me.
Yeah, I really liked unconditional parenting. I liked watching those videos of Alfie Kohn. I don't know how you say his name.
Yeah.
But, like, he's like a fun guy to listen to, and I liked like a lot of his stuff. He was like, it just made sense. I was like, oh yeah, obviously that would be the case. I don't know why I didn't realize that before.
Right. That's so true. Okay. Did we skip a question?
We may have skipped one. I
Oh,
think we
number
skipped,
3.
yeah.
Why is it so hard to detect your own self-betrayal? How can you tell if you are experiencing self-betrayal, and what can you do about it if you are? Okay, because this was a question that I was like hardcore. I'm like, wait, I think I could be doing that right now. Because self-betrayal, I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm relating it to something that the book doesn't mean, or like the reading didn't mean, but I do feel like I don't give myself enough credit. Like today was checkouts for all of the single students, right? And so I started at 8 a.m. and I'm like, okay, I'm like ready to be done. And I still have finals to do, I still have assessments to do. But I feel like if I had given myself enough credit and not, if I had given myself time to prep in the future, I did my own self-betrayal because I ruined myself. I procrastinated, and now it's like going to come back to bite me in the butt. So maybe that's completely wrong and not the one that I could do. But what can I do about it? If I can prepare, plan, and tell myself that I deserve more, because it's only me that's in my way right now.
Yeah.
What about you?
Um, well, I think it's hard to detect your self-betrayal because you don't like to admit that you're wrong. I think that's
Yes.
like nature. It's like, I'm not wrong. I'm always right.
Yes.
And that's definitely something that's like really hard for me to do is like, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. I should fix that.
Yeah.
How can you tell if you're experiencing it? I think you can tell when you like are making excuses for yourself. Like especially with like procrastination, like I do that all the time as well, and I always am like, it's okay, I'll have plenty of time, it's okay, like I don't need to do this, I have this more important thing to do, even though that more important thing is sitting and watching TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just making the excuses, I think that's a good way of knowing. And if I don't know, it's a hard thing to fix. I think like the first step is admitting that you have a problem and like trying your best to fix it and having a growth mindset like, okay, I can fix it, I'm not stuck here. And yeah.
Yeah. That's perfect.
Yep.
Cool. So let's see. That's all the questions. After you record one of the members of your group. Okay, so I'll go ahead and submit it so we can stop recording if you want.
Okay.